Whenever serious crimes are reported in the media, it's always interesting which aspects of the culprit's identity we focus on and which aspects are highlighted by the media. When Sarah Everard was allegedly murdered by Wayne Couzens, a key aspect of the story was the fact that this guy was a police officer. A similar case that has been compared with the Sarah Everard story is that of Lorraine Cox, a woman of a similar age who lived in Exeter, who was also horrifically kidnapped and murdered, only her murderer was in fact an asylum seeker, failed asylum seeker at that. And the question has been asked, was that story not as widely publicised because of the background of the culprit? Possibly. She was murdered by a man called Azam Mangori, 24 years old. He is actually an Iraqi Kurd. And when you see his face and when you hear his name, what is it that stands out about him to you? I mentioned the fact he's 24 years old. And immediately when I read the story, I was trying to work out where he was from. I knew he was an asylum seeker, a failed asylum seeker, as it says, but I was flicking through, and I had to dig quite deep to find out that he's a Kurdish guy from Iraq. So, I mean, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe there's my biases shining through. Why does it matter where he's from? But it matters that he's an asylum seeker, apparently. And I guess the theory there being that had he not been in the country, he wouldn't have been there to commit the murder. But still, I wanted to find out more about him, and I found out that he's an Iraqi Kurd. I also found out that he claimed the murder couldn't have been done by him because he's gay, and he contacted male, female, and transgender escorts before the alleged killing. So maybe he is gay, he's at the very least bisexual, and therefore part of the LGBTQ community. So there's a part of his identity that might not immediately jump out at you. The immigrant asylum seeker identity is immediately apparent, and it probably leaps out to some people, and that makes it to the headline. But yes, this story wasn't as widely publicised as the Sarah Everard case. I think that's understandable, perhaps because when a police officer murders someone, it's slightly more so-called newsworthy than when a regular member of the public does so. But every murder is horrific, isn't it? Shouldn't we be giving all murders the same amount of media coverage and attention? If we did, the news would probably just be one big long murder report. You'd never hear the end of it. But this particular young killer, 24 years old, is from a Muslim background, possibly gay, and definitely a failed asylum seeker, whereas Wayne Couzens is a presumably straight white male, I think in his 40s, and he was of course an off-duty police officer. These are all aspects of the culprit's identity that jump out at us and are highlighted by the media, and some of them will seem more important to you than they do to me or to other people. So for some, the fact that this killer in Exeter happened to be gay will be hard evidence. There you go, I told you gay people are bad news. That gay guy murdered a woman. Or if you hate police and you're one of these people that go around spray painting ACAB everywhere, all cops are beep, then the fact that Wayne Couzens murdered Sarah Everard will be further proof for you that all cops are just that, and you were right to hate them all along. But occasionally a story will come along and there will be nothing that jumps out immediately to classify the culprits into a particular identity group. And I was reading a story recently, yet again another horrific, tragic tale. No one gets murdered this time, but it is pretty awful. Warning, upsetting content. Maureen Wood kept her horrific childhood abuse secret for 3 decades before finally feeling able to tell police that she had been sexually assaulted by her mother, her stepfather, and brother. And this is a horrific case, and it would appear to be just a regular white family, if I can use that term. There's nothing that jumps out to single out these people as members of any kind of minority group. And when white people are reported on in white countries, they don't generally get referred to as such. It's not white family has problem with abuse, it's just family of 4 sexually abuse their daughter in a horrific way, or whatever it is. Maureen Wood was first raped by her older brother on her 9th birthday. That always seems to add news value to a story, doesn't it? When something horrific happens on your birthday. And this woman has gone on to recover from this horrific childhood, and she's written a book about it. And you read the article and it gives you details of the horrific treatment that she suffered from her family. And when you get about 3/4 of the way down, it gets a little bit more interesting. It was difficult because to the outside world, my parents were respectable people. They worked at a local social club and they were managers at the Masonic Hall too. They were well known. Just read that again. They were managers at the Masonic Hall. Okay. So the couple were Freemasons. Now, I'm not saying that all Freemasons do that type of thing. I'm not saying any Freemasons are any more likely to be child abusers than anyone else. They might be. I don't know. It's a secret society, or a society with secrets, isn't it? How would we know? But if this article had said Freemasons abuse their daughter, that would have caught my attention, wouldn't it? Might have caught your attention as well. So I wonder why that aspect of someone's identity doesn't hit the headlines as often as asylum seeker murders someone, or police officer while off duty murders someone. Now, maybe much like being gay or bisexual, you can't tell if somebody is a Freemason just by looking at them. But I wonder if Freemasons are statistically more likely to abuse their children than gay people are to murder a random woman or off-duty police officers. We don't know. We'll never know. But it is a question worth asking.